If I had been one of these morons who voted for Donald Trump, and then just a month into his presidency, I realized how stupid it was to vote for Donald Trump and now regret my vote, I think I would be far too embarrassed to tell anybody about it, especially publicly. But luckily for us, there's a lot of people out there who feel no such shame. And they go out there and they post on social media that they voted for Trump, but now they regret it. And so I want to talk about another one of those people. This is a lady named Barbara Hamblin. And Barbara has a Facebook account. And Barbara is a Republican who voted for Donald Trump. And Barbara, you guessed it, regrets it. And it didn't take long. And so she went to Facebook to tell everybody about how upset she is at the things that Donald Trump is doing. So why don't we take a look at Barbara's post and we'll discuss. So here's Barbara. Here's her Facebook post. So let's read what Barbara had to say. She writes, "I am going to say it, and it needs to be said." Well, thank goodness we have Barbara here to tell it like it is and tell us the things that need to be said. So what do you got to say, Barbara? "I am a die-hard Republican." Yeah, that's your first problem. "And yes, I voted for Trump." Now let's begin right there. Anytime someone says, "I'm a die-hard Republican," you should hear in your head that they're really saying, "I don't think for myself. I just follow the party and do whatever the hell they say. I do not think. I am a cultist. I am a follower. I think politics is nothing more than team sports, and I'm going to vote Republican no matter what because that's the team I have chosen." That's what you should be hearing when you read or hear people say that I am a die-hard whatever. And she says, "Yes, I voted for Trump." With that said, the hypocrisy the Republican Party is showing is appalling at best. Wow. What happened there, Barbara? It only took you a month, and you went from die-hard Republican to talking about the Republican hypocrisy as being appalling at best. What could possibly have happened that took you, this die-hard, non-thinking, Trump cult Republican, and suddenly you turn on them? What would have happened, I wonder? Let's continue. "I would have never voted for all that has happened in just a month." Wait a minute, Barbara. I don't think you know what the word never means, because you did. You did vote for everything that's happened in just the last month. I mean, none of this would have happened if it weren't for you, Barbara, and idiots like you. See, that's the way democracy works. Now, I know you don't think that the United States is a democracy because I've heard you Trump cultists over and over and over tell me that the United States isn't a democracy, it's a republic. Because you're too stupid to realize that a republic is a form of democracy. What you're thinking about is direct democracy, where the people vote on everything. And guess what? Those don't even really exist in the world because that would be insane. All democracies exist as republics, where the people vote for their representatives. And those elected representatives are the ones who make the decisions. That's what democracy is in the modern world. And so, yes, we are a democracy. And you participated in a democracy. And because of you and 49.9% of the people who even bothered to show up and vote, voted for a convicted felon, con man, insurrectionist, rapist, criminal piece of shit, you voted for everything that he has done since taking office and everything that he's going to do. And by the way, if you're upset now, just wait. It's going to get a lot worse. Okay, let's go back to your post here. So you didn't vote for everything that happened in just a month. I didn't vote for Elon Musk. Oh, yes, you did. I didn't vote for President of Ukraine to get ousted. Well, let's stick with Elon Musk. You did vote for Elon Musk. You might not have realized it, but you did. You voted for a man who was so desperate because he's a criminal and he was facing 3 more felony indictments, really serious indictments, and was so desperate to be reelected so that he doesn't spend the rest of his life in prison, he made all kinds of deals with a lot of people, including Elon Musk, who dropped about $250 million to help buy the presidency for Donald Trump. And when a billionaire drops that kind of money, they expect something in return. Billionaires aren't in the habit usually, especially someone like Elon Musk, they're not in the habit of spending lots and lots of money and getting nothing in return. He spent that $250 million getting Trump elected for a reason. And what you're seeing now, that was the reason. He poured $250 million into Trump's campaign to buy the presidency for himself. He purchased a president, and Donald Trump willingly allowed him to do it. He sold himself to Elon Musk and to others because he wanted to stay out of prison. And so that's why Elon Musk has free reign, and he's the one who's really in charge of the federal government. And that's what you voted for, Barbara. Let's go back to your post. So you didn't vote for Elon Musk. I didn't vote for President of Ukraine to get ousted. And I sure as hell didn't vote for half of Americans being laid off. Wow, Barbara, you're really throwing a lot of stuff at me here. Let's begin with the President of Ukraine. Yes, you did. You voted for a guy who in his first term blackmailed the president of Ukraine. This guy, Volodymyr Zelensky, blackmailed him, said, I'm not going to give you this money that has already been appropriated by Congress as aid to Ukraine. I am going to illegally withhold that money from you unless you dig up dirt on my likely political opponent in the next election. And actually, you don't even have to really dig up dirt. Just announce that you're starting a criminal investigation of Joe Biden, and that's enough for me because I can use that against him. And if you don't do it, you're not getting any money. And Zelensky didn't go along. It resulted in Donald Trump being impeached, his first impeachment. He should have been removed from office for that alone because that's really, really illegal and unconstitutional, but he wasn't. But he's always hated Zelensky. And also, if you had paid any attention, I don't know, anytime in the last decade, you would know that in addition to hating the president of Ukraine, and Donald Trump is a very petty and vindictive man who holds grudges forever, he is also an agent of the Russian government. Specifically, he is a hand puppet of Vladimir Putin. I know you were conditioned not to believe that because he was always talking about the Russia hoax, and Fox News was telling you all the time that there was no truth to any of that, when in fact, yeah, there was. Donald Trump has always been in bed with Putin. And you would have known that if you didn't live in a self-constructed information bubble, but you did. That was your choice, Barbara. And so what else did you say here? Okay, the president of Ukraine. Oh, and you sure as hell didn't vote for half of Americans being laid off. Yeah, you did. You know, if you had paid, again, any attention whatsoever, which clearly you did not, you would have heard of a little something called Project 2025. It's all in there. They said everything that they were going to do if they got their little sock puppet elected. And I know Donald Trump pretended that he knew nothing about Project 2025, even though his whole campaign was staffed with Project 2025 people. And even though the primary architect of 2025, guy named Russ Vought, was going to be, we knew this in the campaign, he was going to be named head of Office of Management and Budget, a really, really important position inside the White House. Vaught is really the guy who's running things right now. Anyway, he's the Project 2025 guy. If you paid any attention, you'd know that Donald Trump's denials of having anything to do with Project 2025 were clearly a lie. But again, being in the information bubble that you constructed for yourself, you believed all the lies. That's, on you, Barbara. So what else did you say here? Yes, I understand bringing jobs back to America, but now the job market, did I skip something here? No, I guess not. I guess you're referring to tariffs here. Yes, I understand bringing jobs back to America, but now the job market is flooded because of how this was implemented. Yes, I understand tariffs. Well, Barbara, I don't think you do. I really don't think you do understand tariffs. This whole idea that tariffs, these massive tariffs, were going to bring jobs back to America, that's not going to happen. See, Donald Trump is a crazy person, and he's not going to be in office for very long. Even if he doesn't leave office willingly, he's probably not long for this earth, given how old and unhealthy he is. And no companies are going to put in the capital, the resources, to open up manufacturing plants in the United States. It takes a long time to do that, right? And a lot of money. Nobody's going to do that just because a psychopath criminal that you voted for is putting on all these massive tariffs, especially when you don't know if they're going to be, the tariffs will be in place one day, they're going to be taken off the next day, put back, taken off, put back. Nobody's going to make huge business decisions to, invest millions and millions of dollars in the United States with a nutcase like that in charge. So that's not going to happen. And I'm sure you believed all his bullshit lies about tariffs, making so much money for the United States. The point is, Barbara, you clearly don't know anything about tariffs. Anyways, you say, yes, I understand bringing jobs back to America. Again, no, you don't. But you're very upset because of how this was implemented. And now the country is, flooded with unemployed people. And guess what? That's only going to get worse, Barbara. Let's see what else you said here. Yes, I am one of those innocent bystanders that got laid off due to... Oh, so now I understand why you're so upset. You got laid off, and now you find yourself in a job market that's not good because the economy is slowing down. Inflation is going through the roof. They're actually projecting negative growth this quarter, Barbara. Do you even know what that means? Probably not. Maybe Google it. But you won't. Go to Fox News and they'll be sure not to tell you what that is. Anyways, negative growth because of the guy you voted for. So here you find yourself unemployed in an increasingly worsening economy, again, because of you, Barbara. And you're upset because now you're competing against all these other unemployed people for fewer and fewer jobs. Elections have consequences, Barbara. You voted for this. Okay, so what else did you say here? You're one of the innocent bystanders that got laid off due to foreign aid. And my heart is broken. Ugh. So let me see if I understand what you're saying here, Barbara. You somehow benefited from the United States spending on foreign aid. So perhaps you worked for the federal government in this department that had been slashed by unconstitutional co-president Elon Musk, who you voted for, although you tell us you didn't vote for. So maybe you worked for the government, or maybe you worked in one of the many, many businesses who are paid through that program. Because that program, especially USAID, they contract with private businesses to purchase things that they then distribute to needy people around the world. Maybe you worked for one of those businesses who had their contracts cut, and as a result, they didn't need you anymore, so they fired you. I don't really know. You don't make it clear in your post. But before I go, I want to cover a couple of other things. Oh, but by the way, Barbara, thank you so much for sharing your thoughts with us. You know, as they say, thoughts and prayers. That's really a tough situation you're in. Oh, one final thing about Barbara before I go. Because I found her post on another website, not on Facebook. So I went to Facebook to see if I can find her profile and learn a little bit more about Barbara and to make sure that she's a legit person. So I did, and here's her Facebook page. And it's private. The only thing that the public can see. Oh, isn't that a silly picture? Oh, you look like you're so much fun. Sure does suck that you're out of a job. Anyway, she just allows her pictures to be seen, but you can't see any of her posts. So she has this set to private. Now, either it's always been set to private. Excuse me, let me put it this way. Either it used to be set to public, and she changed it to private after her Facebook post kind of made its way around social media because people predictably were mocking her, like me. Anyway, and because of that, she then made her account private. Or, as I like to believe is the case, because to me it's much more delicious, is that it's always been private, and one of her Facebook friends actually shared her post with the world. I think that that's a lot better. So I'm going to believe that that's what happened. Either way, you can't really see anything she wrote. She must be very embarrassed at this point, or maybe she's not. Maybe she is forever impervious to shame. But I guess she's not impervious to regretting her vote. And at least that's a start. So we can hope that Barbara continues on this journey, and maybe one day she wakes up completely, although I don't have much hope for that, especially if she's still watching Fox News or Newsmax, or otherwise staying within the information bubble that she has constructed around her. And hopefully one day she won't identify herself as a die-hard Republican, because again, to say I'm a die-hard Republican means I don't think for myself. I vote for the Republican Party no matter what. And by the way, Barbara, if you happen to be listening, why the hell would you still be a Republican? What drew you to the Republican Party? And don't tell me anything about conservatism, because if that were the case, then why are you still a Republican? Because this Republican Party is not conservative. It's fascist. That might be something else you should try Googling, because I don't think you know what that is either, because it's staring you right in the face every single day, and I don't think you recognize it. Anyway, the Republican Party from, just 10 years ago is dead and gone. So if that was the party that you originally joined, and now it's completely transformed into a cult of personality, fascist, anti-American, anti-Constitution, anti-democracy party, why are you still in it? You know what? Perhaps it's because, as you said, you're a die-hard Republican, which means you don't think. And so as this transformation was taking place, you were too stupid and blind by tribal partisan allegiances to understand what was happening or to even give a damn. Anyway, I hope one day you think these things through and you continue on your journey to maybe arrive at the place where you are an independently thinking person, which is what you should be. And by the way, if you're not, you really shouldn't be voting, because guess what? You're not very good at it, Barbara. Anyway, that'll do it. Thanks so much for watching. There'll be so many more of these MAGAs who are finding out to talk about, and I can't wait to do it.